All right, Ms. Frankish, go ahead.
Thank you. Sergeant Hayes, you're still under oath, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I want to jump back into when you arrived on scene at 2155 Purcell Lane. Can you go ahead and tell the jury what county that's in?
It's Cherokee County.
And when you arrived there, I believe you testified yesterday, well, you did testify yesterday that you began interviewing some folks, and you spoke to Melody Farris.
I did.
Can you tell the jury about where that was, how long it was? Yeah, go ahead.
The first time I interviewed Ms. Farris, it was on the property. I asked her where we could go that was kind of semi-private outside. At the time, we weren't going inside the house. And she led me to the back patio. It was just outside of Gary's office on the lower level. And I believe she sat in a swing and I sat in a chair.
At that time, had any of the projectiles been found?
No.
Were you aware that there was really any, I guess the term would be foul play at that point?
Not necessarily. The only thing we had noticed so far was that the body was burned much more than we expected it to be when we found it.
And during this conversation with Ms. Farris, at any point did you expose your firearm or handcuffs or threaten to harm her in any way?
Typically we dressed in like slacks and a polo, and I'd had my gun on my side next to my badge, which is typical everyday wear in criminal investigations. But as far as pulling it out, or I didn't usually carry handcuffs unless I expected to need them. So I don't believe I would have had handcuffs on that day.
So you mentioned that Ms. Farris was on like a swing, and where were you located?
In a chair across from her.
Okay, so is that like a bench swing that she was on?
I believe so.
And what was the purpose of this interview?
A fact gathering mission. At this time we hadn't. Multiple interviews were starting at the same time. I was speaking with her and other detectives on scene. I believe we're starting to speak with other family members, just trying to figure out what might have happened.
Was she under arrest at that point?
She was not.
Okay. How long did you speak with her outside?
The first interview, I believe, was a little longer than an hour.
Okay. At this time, Judge, the state would move to tender State's Exhibit Hayes 1.
No objection.
Permission to publish. All right, Sergeant. These are long. If you'd like to, you can sit wherever you'd like.
Okay.
I believe the court's going to give you some.
You're welcome to sit back and count the table or step in the stand.
Let me ask you just a couple more follow-ups.
Okay.
At this time in 2018, did CSO have body cameras?
We did not have body cameras.
So what did you use for this interview to record it?
If we were doing mobile interviews that were not at either the South Annex or our headquarters building, we would just carry pocket digital voice recorders.
And so did you record this conversation you had with Ms. Farris?
I did.
And it's just audio. There's no video?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead and publish Hayes 1.
I was given information by Deputy Moss. I just want to make sure it's accurate. Melody Walker Farris, 2/8 of 1960. And this is your address? Just can you give me a little history or background of what's going on?
I don't know. Well, Tuesday, he started to be burned. Late Tuesday, started to be burned.
Tuesday this week?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
day before yesterday. And of course, we're all the time out him. He had set the house on fire 2 years ago. This August, the end of this August. And I got so severe fire after that. He had set it in his office. We think what he did was he did an ashtray in there. Don't know. That's where it started. Sonny and Scott were here. And it did so much damage. And so since then, I had been so just scared of fire around here. Just crazy scary that he was all the time just, his thing was starting fires. He set one at my other house in the woods behind my house. We lived in a subdivision. I got a call from the neighbor one morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. The fire department was there. He had started it like the week before, and it had been smoldering. And it kind of gotten out of control. So it had been I don't know, maybe 6 months or so since he had burned it before. And he,
This burn pile here?
I mean, it had trees, it had fencing, we had pulled up, we did the fire pit down here, we had an excavator here, and they had pulled up a bunch of tree stumps and that kind of stuff. Put on the burn pile, so it had a lot of fencing and stuff on it. And he said something not long ago about burning. I said, please do not burn it. It's too dry, it's too windy, it's too, we always go this. Don't burn it. Well, Scott came home. I don't know what time it was when he got here, because I called him and I was chasing horses. And I don't know where they got out due to all the fireworks going on, or if he had let him out, because Gary was such horse for going through gate leaving it open. I said, I'm chasing horses, how much fun? He said, I'll be home in a little while. I called him back and said, I got all the horses put up, I got, whatever. And Gary stayed in the basement. I mean, that was this is his domain, was the bottom floor. And so, I got ready. Scott pulled in, and he said something about, he said, well, I see he's got the burn pile going. I said, I told him he's got the flashing tonight. Because it was still, and then yesterday morning, Scott left about 7 o'clock yesterday morning, I guess. He came over to get a debit card. He was going to go play golf. And I said something about the burn pile's still going. He said, it'll probably go for a long time. I mentioned, I said, I hope it doesn't get around like it did last time. So I left here with going with my daughter to Lake Lanier, brought Cameron and stuff back here. And he had gathered up. There was a big pile of wood back here in the back that had termites in it. And he said something like, I said, Gary, do not make that burn pile any bigger. I mean, it was massive. I mean, it was beyond massive.
And I'm sorry, when was this when you and Gary were having this conversation?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, okay.
Yeah. I said, Gary, it's dry out. It's dry as toast out. And I said, please do not, please don't burn it. There is no reason why. He's a lawyer. Burn it or die trying. And that was, I left. I was had the blower and blowing everything off out here. And I walked by that bathroom, because he sits in there in that bathroom and smokes. Which is the one down here. And the fan was on, and I was like, great. And they're smoking again. And that, I mean, it's the last I thought about it. And then Addison and Cameron were here, and we were busy last night getting them settled and me, fed and that kind of stuff. And it's not unusual not to see him, because he's very much an introvert. Even if all the kids are here, he'll just get on, just disappear out in the pasture. He doesn't like having a conversation. He doesn't. If he talks to the kids, he pretty much does it through text messaging and email. It's just the way he is. Always been. It's nothing unusual. It's nothing. But now, in April, we worked on the paperwork. I took him to the exact day. He was in the hospital 3 days. And I took him one night, and he got really bad. He's had these spells for years, and he talks. He gets very slurred speech. His motor coordination gets very off. He stumbles. His dad had Parkinson's, and he kind of wondered if maybe he had Parkinson's. But they did. I never did personally talk to the cardiologist, but I did talk to his physician's assistant. And because Amanda and I went with Amanda to go look at a wedding venue. And so we left before the actual cardiologist came in, but they found that he had a leaking aortic valve and a leaking tricuspid valve. And they wanted him to go back to the cardiologist on Friday. He got out late Wednesday. They wanted him to go back to the cardiologist on Friday to be hooked up to a heart monitor for a length of time to see, what all was going wrong with his heart. And he refused to go, which was not unusual.
And this just happened in the last few weeks, you said?
He was in the hospital in April, but he's been having these spells, and they get more and more and more frequent. And he had one, it was after he was in the hospital. I don't remember Emily, the daughter that lives in Franklin, was here, her birthday, which was April the 14th. And we had one right after that that lasted about 4 days, and he stayed in the bed pretty much that entire time. And he would sleep for just hours and hours and hours. And then he wouldn't sleep for hours and hours and hours. So they had asked him to also see a neurologist to see if he was anything going on neurologist. And he refused. He said, no, I'm not going to go until then when I'm not my family. Because he's got a sister that is, well, I know bipolar and schizophrenia, she's had electroshock treatments. And his mother has Alzheimer's really bad. His dad died of Parkinson's in 2011. And he said, I think I'm getting like my parents. And he said, I don't want to know if I am. And he would have these spells and there was no reasoning with him. I mean, he would see things on the walls and he would, think there was people in the house. And he would swear that we were having parties out here in the hot tub. Where were all those people last night? There's nobody here, Gary. There's been nobody. And there would not, and then he would just all of a sudden just drop it, like,
So you're saying he starts fire, he just likes burning stuff? It's like a hobby of his, or?
Oh, I told him always he was a, pyromaniac.
Yeah.
He loved
How long have you and him been married?
38 years. He'll be 39 next year. I mean, in September. 39 Now, he did, before we got married, his sister and I were talking about it the other night because I was telling her I had actually gone to North Alabama. My mother is in a nursing home up there. I was talking to her about it and how she said, how's Gary? And he said, I said, it worries me. I said, it's getting worse and worse. He won't go back to the doctor. And we were discussing that, how he tried to kill himself twice before we got married.
Before you guys got married? What did he do? What steps did he take to?
I know one time he took a bunch of pills. The second time he cut his wrist. And that was during the time that his sister was hospitalized in a mental institution in North Alabama. I get electroshock treatment sometimes. And his dad had mental illness. And then his mother, I know the year that my dad died, which was in 97, I know she was on lithium at the time. And then my sister-in-law said the other night that they had given her some sort of something that began with an S that was an antipsychotic drug. But I said, well, she's in a mental facility, in a memory care facility, and she'd be getting very aggressive. So, but other than that, he had a brain of it was bad. And that's why I told him, I said, Gary, you set my house on fire.
This house we're sitting at, he set on fire? And you said that was from the inside. He, in his office, and you think he was smoking and dropped it or something?
I was here, it was on a Sunday afternoon, and I was here, and there was a friend of mine that lives here in the neighborhood. She said, let's swing by and pick you up, we're going to just go. So let me get a few things done, and just, and had all left it. At that time, which is still set up to some degree, it got in the closet that's in here in his office. This house is one of those smart houses that everything's hooked up together. That time, lights were flashing inside, everything was going off and stuff, and I was trying to find it, and I called Scott where he saw the smoke coming out of his office. And I got the dogs out, fire department came, it got in the wall and up, and then it broke a hole in the master bedroom. The whole basement had to be gutted, home theater had to be everything, and it did so much damage.
You keep referring to Scott. Is that one of your children?
He lives in the barn.
And he's your son? Scott lives in the barn.
Scott lives in the barn.
Okay. I'm assuming his last name's Farris?
Yes.
Are all these children yours and Gary's together? What other children?
It's Chris. He's here.
Chris Farris. Is he local? And
Amanda, she's here. Yeah,
is Amanda still Farris?
Yes. She lives in Flowers. And then Emily.
Emily Farris?
Emily Payne.
Payne?
P-A-Y-N-E.
Where does she live?
Thompson Station. It's outside of Franklin.
Okay. So, just kind of recap so I make sure I understand. Emily came in.
Amanda. Emily lives in Franklin.
Emily lives in Franklin. She's not here.
She's not here.
Okay. So Amanda came in.
Amanda got here this morning.
This morning. So who came in?
Last night.
Yes.
I had Addison, my granddaughter.
Okay.
And Cameron, which is Amanda's fiance's daughter, was here last night.
Okay. So that's who came in last night. And you guys are just used to Gary not coming up and socializing.
Yeah.
So you assume, where did you assume he was this entire time?
In his office.
Does he have a kitchen down here and a bathroom and everything he
There's a
needs?
bathroom down here. There is we keep Mountain Dew in the refrigerator. And he keeps them in the trunk of his car because he drinks 12 a day. And they had told him at the hospital he had to stop drinking Mountain Dew, so I refused to buy them. So he kept them in the trunk of his car. He kept one in the refrigerator all the time. He'd switch them out. He got one. So he'd come out and go, because he didn't want anybody to see that he was drinking Mountain Dew. So yes, there is a bathroom down here. There's everything down here. Yeah, he does have a closet in our bedroom, but it's not unusual for him to, get up and down without being seen. I mean, I was out on the property feeding animals. We've got a baby goat that's got to be fed. And Addison and Cameron, had gone over to the barn. I mean, we were in and out and doing it, and I was trying to, getting them fed and stuff. And we've been out all day in the sun. And I actually went to bed about 8:30 last night. I was done. They went to bed. I said, okay, do not go outside this door. Do not go anywhere. Do you stay where I can hear you. And the last I heard of them last night was about 10 o'clock, I guess, when I heard them in the kitchen.
Okay.
Then this morning, Cameron and Addison said, where's Big Daddy? And I said, well, he's down in the basement, I guess. And I said, why? And they said, well, they want to drive the RTV. And I said, well, wait till Amanda gets here. She's on her way, and we can do it with her. When Amanda got here, Scott came over, and I said, have you seen? I said, is Daddy over at the barn? And he said, no. And I said, well, I haven't seen him. I hadn't, which, like I said, it's not unusual. I mean, most of the days, if he's off, he'll sleep till noon, 1 o'clock, and then he'll stay up till.
So does he still actively practice law? He's still, okay, still has a firm.
He's a barn foreman, B-U-R-R. B-U-R-R.
B-U-R-R and
Foreman, F-O-R-M-A-N.
where's that?
Atlantic Station.
What kind of law did he practice? So last time anybody actually laid eyes on him or had a conversation with him was Tuesday evening.
Yeah, Chris, my son,
Uh-huh.
was here, and his daughter Addison.
And
But then he came through after that. I don't know what time that it was. I had actually gone in my study and had sat down with the dogs because they were freaking out because everybody was shooting fireworks. And he said, are you cooking dinner? And I said, Gary, there's enough food. All the kids were here this last weekend. And Emily was in from Franklin with her little girl. And I said, Gary, there's enough food in here to feed Cox Farming. I'm not going to throw it out. So figure out something to eat in the kitchen. And I said, I've got all I can do because the horses are freaking out. you know, said I've already put 2 of them up, you know, and, I mean, I stayed in the study until, but like I said, it was not unusual not to see him.
And the study is upstairs?
Upstairs.
Okay. What is y'all's relationship status? I mean, do y'all kind of just live separate lives in the same house? Okay.
Always have. I mean, that's not unusual.
For your entire marriage?
For
or-
our marriage.
Okay.
He, like I said, he was very much of a loner. And we've been in this house, it'll be 5 years this November. And even in my other house, we lived in 2 separate quarters. But his brother and his wife basically did the same thing, and his sister who's never married. And because she don't want to be around anybody. So we just talked about it. I mean, everybody was like, that's just how he is. That's just how he is.
And he's always been that way.
He's always been that way. I know somebody asked me, said, why have you stayed? And I said, I took him out of here. So, I mean, he was very verbally abusive. He could cut to the bone. But, you know, it's not, but he did that. You know, I said, he doesn't cut any slack, he does it to my kids too. I mean, like Amanda that's here, she's supposed to be getting married in May, and he has basically, well, Chris, my son that's here, I told one of the other deputies that was here, I said, we've been having trouble with him taking money. I mean, over $900 a month, he's got a checking account routing money. And I said, Gary refuses to talk to him. Refuses to. I said, he sends emails and text messages. That's all he does. And I said, you know, if I say anything, then it's like I told, I don't remember who it was, the college guy. I said, you know, Chris was here last summer. His girls come and they stay here. Basically, come here. I said, they sent me a voice memo last year when he was here, and it was, I'm not buying you any fucking food, and we'll go get you the cheapest fucking thing. And I told him, Chris, I'm gonna call social services. Don't stop. And they basically, I mean, they stay here. The parents are divorced. He's been divorced. They've been divorced for years. Well, I won't say divorced. They have lived separately for years. And they finally got a divorce right before he and Jenna got married. And I said, Chris, I don't know what you're on. He, at that point in time, he told me when he stood in my driveway and chased me up to the front porch when he said, "Mom, think you beyond recognition. And the next time I want to see you is when they put you in a pine box and bring you." And I said, Chris, I'm going to stop you from taking money some way, somehow, you've got to get help. You cannot treat the 2 girls like this. You cannot treat, you know. And I said, I beg you, you know, get help, get whatever, get. And of course, he just gets so enraged. I mean, to the point that I've told him, I said, you're not to be at my house when I'm not here. You're not welcome here to just come in. You're not, you're not.
Now, you said he got here when, Chris?
Yeah, Amanda and I were sitting on the front porch, and I don't even know what time it is now.
It is 2:35.
Oh,
But he wasn't here the past couple of days.
he was here Tuesday night.
Because he was here Tuesday night.
He was here Tuesday.
Did him and Gary get into it, or?
I don't think so. Oh. The last thing that Chris had done was book a vacation to the beach that they're supposed to be leaving Saturday. I think it's Saturday. And Gary had said, I'm going to go with him. Instead of him just taking the money, like what he usually does, I'm going to go with him. And he said, are you going to go? And I said, no, I'm not going. Because Gary, he keeps taking, I mean, it's serious money. I mean, it's not, it's serious money. I mean, like I said, it's anywhere from $800-900 a month, plus the girls' airline tickets, you know, for them to fly back and forth. I know his ex-brother-in-law died January, February or so in a skiing accident, and he booked the airline tickets to us. I'm like, no, you know. So that's what mine and Chris's thing of it is no, stop. And we went to a bachelor trip. We went to Panama. I'm like, you went to where? You know, because Gary was like, why do we have tickets to a foreign country? I don't know. I've got to find out. It's a budget to the county. For a bachelor party, and that's been some time ago. But Gary was just like, it's not like I can't, he kept saying, well, I can afford to do it. And I said, Gary, that's not the point. I mean, that's like Scott that lives above our barn. He hasn't worked since he came back from Iraq, except for a very short time. And I can't make him work. I can't make him, and I said, Gary, give me 35 Saturday. And I said, Gary, he needs to work. He said, well, you don't work. Gary,
It's typical for the woman not to work, but not for
I have
a grown man,
kids,
right?
And we've got now 3 grandchildren that are here. I mean, Ella and Addie come in for the name.
And I can only imagine this place is a full-time job
It's a full-time job.
to take care of you.
I mean, it is. And Scott, and Scott is good help. But, like this last week, he's played golf 3 days. He's gone to the lake. He's gone, it's just like, come on now.
This is Scott that's done all this? So he's just enjoying life.
He is enjoying life to the fullest. And, I said, I've got to have some help. I'm working before daylight a lot of days till dark 30. I've got to have some help. I said, if you don't, I'm going to move you out and move me somebody in who, I didn't even talk to Chad, Amanda's fiance. His dad was actually pistol whipped not long ago, and he was kind of in between, whatever. And I said, he said something back. He said, well, you move my dad in, he'll work. And I said, well, he's had his issues of his own, and I don't need to trade one, for
Right.
another. I said, at least God is my child, and I ain't screaming at him, But, like I said, I can't remember now what year that Scott got out. I know he has not worked since we've lived in his house. And, Gary was just like, let him do his thing. He'll be 35. Let's, I said, when I was 35, I had 4 kids. You were in a new practice. We moved here from Birmingham in 95. The agreement was to say 3 years, and I'm still here. But the law office here did quite well. So he remained here to run this office. It's got a lot of help. Yes, he is. Because, like I said, it's a full-time job fixing everything that Gary unfixes. He could tear, like I always say, he could tear a steel ball. And we had gotten where we just didn't leave him here much alone. Because, you come in and the tractor would be stuck, or anything. And, he had gotten, like I told his sister, I said, I'm worried he's getting like your mom. And, I don't know about his practice. I know managing partner, when he was in the hospital, I had talked to the managing partner. He's actually in Birmingham. He said, no, if you need anything. And I said, make him go to the doctor and make him follow through with this. And Angela, his secretary, she's been his secretary, well, she moved over here from Birmingham with us. And, she said, I told him I was going to put an electric shock collar on him, and every time he got a Mountain Dew or like a cigarette, it'll pop him with it. And, I told him, I don't know how you have a practice. I think that's why he works from here.
So you can stay down there and wear whatever and smoke. So, what, you'll give me one second and I'll direct Mr. Ross here. He's one of our deputy coroners. Hello?
How you doing?
You looking for them?
Yes, sir.
If you follow,
It's around that.
yeah, right through the,
Right down.
Straight down.
Yeah.
How you doing?
yes, sir. So, all right, so you said some verbal abuse, any physical or mental, nothing like that.
But like I said, it wasn't just me, it was everybody.
Yeah.
He did it too. Like I said, he was an attorney. So the way that he put things were very, you know. Amanda years ago gave me a book on some sort of personality disorder, and I read the book and just read this, you know. And it was the way. I mean, like I couldn't say to him, you know, Gary, you don't need to leave the gate open. Oh, well, you just think I'm an idiot. No, Gary, I'm saying, please don't leave the gate open because I'll take it out. So you just learned to, you know, could you please shut the gate?
Sure.
You know, I know that you forgot to shut the gate, but could you please, because chasing horses is not, you know, we didn't. I mean, it was just, I mean, like Amanda said a while ago, she said, it scares me. And she said, what's happening? And I said, I don't know. I said, you know, I was scared to death that, you know, fire was, I figured he'd burn my house. And then that was like yesterday, she said something about, what's Daddy doing? I said, hoping not burning my house down or, you know, something like that.
So how does he usually start his fires? What does he?
He usually starts that one down there with diesel or kerosene or gasoline.
Did you see how he did it this time, or?
No, because I actually was in the house. I had been, like I said, the kids had been here all weekend, and I knew Ella and Addie was coming, and I had been painting my study, and I was trying to, you know, just inside, because, I mean, you know. And then when I realized the fire was going, I mean, you know, and I said, Gary, why not? I mean, that was like the other night. I mean, all this down here, we had done the fire pit recently and done all that planning and stuff, and I said, Gary, why are you pulling the strings? Because I can't. Okay. Well, you know, so he had planted them up front. You know, I mean, it was just, he would do very erratic things. Just, he would be just like, why are you doing that? Why? And he would do things and redo them and redo them and redo them. I mean, we just got used to it.
Mhm.
It was,
So what happened this morning when y'all found?
well, Amanda was here, Cameron was here, Addison was here, and Scott was here. And we got to talking, you know, something. I said, Scott, have you seen your daddy? And he said, no. And I said, well, I was wondering if he was at the barn. And he said, no, he's not there. So, but his, what we call his tribal CPAP was gone. His big CPAP was in there, but his tribal CPAP was gone. And he said, did he go anywhere? And I said, well, his car is here. And I said, but that's not unusual for him to leave. And his mother had, I don't really know what happened to her. It was in May 1st of last year. And I noticed that everything was gone. And I called him and I said, where'd you go? And, well, Mama, I've gone to check on Mama. Okay, is she okay? Yeah, she's fine. And I don't know what made me think to call or send my sister-in-law a text that lives in Huntsville. And I said, what's happened to Betty? She said, she's on life support. What do you mean she's on life support? Yeah, we're on our way to see if there's any brain activity. Gary said she was just fine. How long has she been on the ventilator? She said, I don't know, a couple, 3 days.
Wow.
I said, do what? I mean, you know, well, I tried to call Gary back, and he wouldn't answer the phone. And I said, well, would you tell me if something happens to her? And he didn't want to tell the kids. He didn't want to tell. I said, Gary, their grandmother is on life support. So we went Mother's Day up there. Like I said, my mother is in a nursing home in the same town. And we all went up there. And cousin of mine went and stuff, and we went by the hospital. By this time, they had taken her off the ventilator. And like I said, she didn't know come here from somewhere. So, I mean, it was just things like that that he would do. We just all learned to live with it. I mean, it was like Amanda. We're trying to plan this wedding. She's getting married next May. And she had sent him a text the other day, we're meeting with a photographer next Wednesday. And do you want to go? No.
So, did anybody try to call him or get a hold of him over
Yes,
these?
we've been trying to call him, and it immediately went to voicemail
When did this start?
today.
When you're trying to call him today? But yesterday, nobody went down to the basement to check on him?
No, I mean, like I said, I wasn't here the majority of the day.
Uh,
And by the time I got here last night, I mean, it was get the animals back to the barn and get I mean, I had 2 little girls here, and they were, you know,
sure.
back and forth to the barn, and I don't want them here around the horses, and, you know, without me being, you know, right there.
Mhm.
And I honestly, I mean, like I said, I crashed and burned. You know, I went to bed, and you know, I said, look, do not leave outside, do not go anywhere. If I call you, and Amanda had told Cameron, you know, said, look, cut that phone off it. You know, y'all are not staying on Instagram, Snapchat, everything all night long.
How old are the girls?
I don't know how old Cameron is, but Addison's 11. She'll be 12 in August. And Cameron's on at the same age. So I said, look, I will know if you walk outside this house. And they stayed upstairs, in the bedroom upstairs, that I got fixed to them. It's got a queen size bed and 2 twin beds. You know, in there. I said, I promise you, I will know if you walk outside that door.
Mhm.
And so anyway, yes, ma'am, I promise you, I won't leave. I won't. So I mean, you know, like I said, I mean, it was on that. I don't know what time Amanda got here, and you know, then it was okay. So we went looking. I mean, you know, everywhere. And Scott got on the RTV and went circled, and then Scott and I got on there because we checked the front pasture, you know, up there. Went to the barn, went to the house. Because he a lot of times will sit in this. There's an electrical room down here in the basement.
Mhm.
And there's a chair in there, and he'll sit and smoke in there. And I told him, I said, Gary, you're going to set my house on fire. I sit in here and smoke. So he would do that. And
So, y'all just started a search, basically,
Yeah,
of the
we
property
just
on,
a search,
and,
yeah.
and then when y'all actually went to the fire pit, everybody was walking, y'all were still just kind of walking around? Or?
yeah, Scott had the RTV. I mean, you know, we had been around, and then, I mean, we could walk down. Scott's got a trail cam that's like way down the hill down there. And I had asked him, I said, sir, I've checked that and see if there's any, see if he could walk down
Sure.
the hill. And, of course, this property that joins us right here. I mean, you know, but yeah, there's a barbed wire fence up, but, I mean, you know, he said, no, there's nothing on the trail cam. And, so anyway, we were all walking and doing and, you know, looking, and Amanda kept, she said, I've emailed both of his email accounts. He's got a work one and a personal one. And I've emailed both to, look, hey, we want to know where you are. And I called his secretary to see if she knew, you know, was he going out of town anywhere? Was he, you know, anything? No, not that I know of. But, like, again, he's not in the office all that much, so, you know. So she said, well, let me know whether, you know, you hear from him. And I said, well, you let me know if you hear from him, or if anybody, you know, hears from him. And so she would, and I even called my daughter that's in Thompson Station, and I said, have you heard from your daddy? She said, well, I sent out a group, and she did. She sent out a group text to all of us late yesterday. And normally he will respond back on the group text, and he did not respond back to it. But, I mean, that was today before we found, you know, that out. And I even called her. Everything is in Gary's name. Everything is in Gary's. Now this house, at one time, when we closed on it, it has my name on it. And then we also own my daughter's house in Thompson Station. And by Tennessee law, my name had to be on that house. But we have a condo in Tuscaloosa, and that's in Gary's name on that. That everything, is subdivision in his name. But that's so he can control it. I mean, I have a debit card, and I have a credit card of his. Have his name on it. And he has, and then Scott has one that's Gary's name on it. second you make a transaction, it goes to his phone. But now he used to do my two girls that way, what they got out of their own. So he does a lot of bankruptcy work.
So he's afraid of running out of money to a point.
To a point, I think it's a control thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never said anything. I mean, I skipped an off of his property.
Sure.
And I've got anything that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it was, I would give it to you.
You couldn't go out and buy it on your own. You had to.
Yeah, I mean, I could. I mean, you know, like I said, I have a debit card and a credit card, you know. And within reason, I mean, I never abused it. I mean, yes, I do know my house is furnished, you know, immaculate. But it's been almost 39 years of collecting it. And I've got a good bit of stuff with my grandparents. You know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, you just learn to accept it. And after he'd been in the hospital, I said, Gary, if something happens to you, I can't go buy groceries. I said, well, you'll figure it out. He said, it's not like there's no money in the bank. I said, I do understand that, Gary, but do you know what a struggle it's going to be if something happens to you? I said, you've got kids that are, I mean, Emily, the one that lives in Thompson Station, I mean, he gave her $3,000 this month. I'm like, why? And her husband was arrested, for one step out of Jerry'sburg, was arrested the day they brought Olivia home last November the 27th. And was taken, who they were going, I was there. And he was going to be taken back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, on a fugitive warrant. And he has embezzled his mother, he stole from her once she lost her house. And everything. And I said, you know, I don't even know the outcome of, you know, his last, he was on sales tax, failure to pay sales tax, and a forged instrument.
Wow.
And he had to go back for that. But he's been arrested so many times. And I begged Emily not to marry him. I begged. And Gary begged her $30,000 away.
Wow. So what, I mean, this is kind of a hard question to ask, but what do you think happened? You think he had a medical episode, or, I don't know. Did he ever have any thoughts or tendencies or threats to hurt himself, other than the 2 times before you guys were married?
Yeah, he would occasionally, and he had gotten, I think, more and more, like I said, the group text that would go out when she'd send pictures of Olivia, because she's in daycare, and there'd be pictures through the day. And I know he made a thing not long ago. He said, I haven't gotten any pictures recently of Olivia. Right, and so she sent him one. He's like, oh, now my day is brighter. But now he always looked at everything being happy. You know, my house is not good enough. I'm not, I mean, he finished top of his law school class. I mean, he was beyond book smart, but common sense, 0. And he never, nothing was ever good enough. Kids weren't good enough. He just weren't good enough. So hence, like, he just didn't have a whole lot to do with it. And I think that he thought, his parents basically, I mean, we put Gary through law school, and they're undergrad, and his parents did nothing for him. And I think he thought that that was buying their love, and buying their whatever to give money out. Then Amanda, I mean, she's getting married, and she's the child that he's just, I don't know. I think he loved her. You know, I do. But she was kind of always
She didn't get the same treatment as the other one. So I know this has been your entire marriage, 38-year marriage, and he's had these tendencies to do mental issues for lack of better terms. I know he's not been diagnosed, but anything recently?
Well, no, he has taken Paxil for years.
Okay.
Right after my dad died, which was in January of 97. I took him to the ER not long after that. Full-blown panic attack. Thought he was having a heart attack. My dad died of a heart attack. Thought he was having a heart attack then. And so that's what we're told. He had to go and see psychiatric help. He's Dr. Hoffman, but he's just a regular medical doctor. And I had taken him, it's been over a year ago. He got pretty good walking. And they did an MRI, and he had several bulging discs and stuff. And so he took muscle relaxers and Marital for that. And he would have episodes that he gets where he just wouldn't. And it wouldn't be anything, it would just be he would turn. Or, and at that time was about the worst. He's had a couple of episodes since then that he just stayed in bed for several days.
So no big drastic changes in the past week or two where he's gotten real depressed or just anything out of the ordinary?
I guess that I had confronted, Chris took the beach trip last week. And I said, Gary, come on now, we got to, come on. Because Chris had called me. I said, no, Chris, no, I'm not paying for you another vacation. I don't get to go on vacation. So no, I'm not going to. So Gary had said, he said, well, what if we go with him? I said, no, we're not going. We're going to. He's not going either, And I said, because how else is he going to learn if we keep, he said, well, why can't we even take the grandchildren? You and I will go. You will take the grandchildren. Well, no, Chris and Jenna need to go because Chris won't let the girls go unless, well, then we don't go. I didn't think that was So from that point in time on, it was very, he's still talking about it. And when Chris got here Tuesday, and he, as soon as I walked out there, Chris was hushed. Didn't say anything. Addison said, am I looking to see Olivia? And which is Emily's little girl. So then I told him, and I said, well, I don't know. I said, I've got to go and put my mother to the auto later on in the month. So that, while you're all here. And I said, maybe you can go there. Oh, well, if they're not going with you. I said, Chris, they stay here most of the time here. Because you can't be trusted with your own children. As soon as David flew in Tuesday morning, the flight got in at 8:30, and Ella, his older daughter, he came back here and dropped her off with a friend that she lives right down the road. But her mother lives somewhere on down further down the road. And I said, so I called Terry because her parents were divorced. I called Terry Braswell and I said, did you know that Ella and Emma are together with Beth? He said, I know. I said, didn't Beth just get out of jail? He said, yeah. I said, well, do you think she's okay? He said, yeah, I think so. She ran an ex-boyfriend and totaled their cars, and and she's been in and out because I think they do a cat fight, whatever. And I said, I don't think Ella needs to be over there. Period. End of story. Well, Chris was going to let her stay from high water. So, it's like, Terry said, well, I think it'll be okay. And I said, if you hear anything, would you call me? I said, check on him very recently, so.
So it sounds like you and Chris, your relationship's a little
Oh yeah, because
rocky because you're trying to put a stop to the handouts and make him grow up and do things on his own.
he's 38 years old.
But Chris's relationship with Gary was good because Gary was still feeding him money, or
Gary's still paid him money.
so he didn't really.
But he did
So I know
not.
you said Chris had threatened you in the past to beat you and all
Right.
that. He never did that with Gary. Did they ever
Not that
exchange
I know
words?
of.
Or?
Gary was 6'5" and 300 pounds. He wasn't gonna cut his gravy train off.
Gary was 6'5", 300 pounds.
I mean, I told that other officer, I said, I think Chris is a lot of bark and no bite. But I said, last summer, I threatened to call the law to get him out here because I knew he was owing something. And I said, you're not leaving here with those two dogs. You can't stop him from taking the girls. I said, well, then, yeah, I will. Because you're not driving off with him like this. And that's when he just got belligerent. I called Gary, and he came home. And Gary let him take it. And I said, Gary, he said, what are his dogs? I said, but do you understand what you're doing? I said, Ella had sent me, earlier that summer, had sent me a text message, and it was him. I mean, Hudson, a Blue Street, it was fuck this, fuck that, and I'm going, fucking feed you the cheapest fucking thing. I mean, And I said, Chris, come on now. You can't do that. So they came and stayed here pretty much the rest of the time. And I said, and I told him, I said, you're not welcome at my house unless we are home. You can't come in here. You've taken credit cards. You've taken, you've got checks. He didn't write them. He would, he goes to Sharon Williams. He runs a painting company. There'd be charges to Sharon Williams. And so yeah, that's mine and Chris's thing.
Did you think Chris would have hurt Gary? You don't think there was an
I
argument?
don't think so. I mean,
Because it seems like it's appearing this probably happened Tuesday evening. Chris got here Tuesday. There's
well,
been some-
he and Addison left, and I mean he had Addison with him, so it didn't seem to be a problem because he was going to the beach. I mean they're supposed to leave, I think Saturday, but I don't know that for sure. And he's not finished grading.
So Chris Tuesday evening had Addison with him the whole time.
Had what?
You said Chris had Addison with him.
Now I don't know what they did when he left here.
Okay. Had you spoken to Gary after Chris left?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh yeah.
Chris left, Gary was still.
Yeah. He was still here.
So he went down and started the fire, and you said it was Tuesday evening, and you don't know exactly what time. There's still daylight though.
I don't. I mean, I really don't know. It was, I think, on about 6 o'clock,
Okay.
something like that.
So
But he started it, and then he went up to the very front entrance and was messing around up there. And it's scary. Don't leave that fire. Please don't leave the fire. And so that he came in, and I don't know what time it was, about dinner. But we never eat around here until 8:30 because he's usually never home until, after that. And I think he ate here. I'm pretty sure he did because I mean I had a big thing of chicken salad and I made chicken salad sandwich and I left it in there. And like I said, I had 2 horses who got out, so I was chasing them. And when I came back in, it was put back in the refrigerator. So I don't know, what he did from that point. And,
so the last time you talked to him Tuesday was around dinner time.
Yeah.
You'd estimate 8:30.
It was not that late that night, because he had been here all day and stuff. But I told him, I said, you are not going to bed and leaving the fire.
How big was the fire when he lit it?
Massive. I mean, it was. He had piled on. We had a bunch of new fencing and stuff that had gone in and post and that kind of stuff. And then when we put the fire pit in earlier this year, did a mini excavator here, and Scott had pulled up a bunch of big stumps and that kind of stuff. Well, those were on there, and limbs, and we had a tree to fall back here, and it was massive. I mean, it was.
And Scott lives here on the property, so there's no issue between you, Scott, or Gary and Scott behind that. Get along well.
Yeah.
No reason for Scott to do anything.
Like I said, they're not right off their gravy train.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott's living here,
Free.
free. Yeah. He works, I mean, he sleeps till noon every day. I never seen him before 12. And it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I had finally just talked it up to, this is how it's gonna be. And, but I had told Gary, I said, look, I've got to have some help. I've got to. And he's like, what fine? It's all immaculate. It's all, yeah, because I'm working myself to death. And like I said, Scott is good help when you can get him to do it. But no, I mean, no, I don't think that's what he would do. I mean, I really don't. I know he's my child, but I don't think he would.
You said Gary's introverted, he doesn't have many friends, I'm taking it, that he hangs out with socially? No. So nobody over here?
He did not like anybody being in the house. Period.
So he wouldn't like us all being here then?
Oh,
No.
oh
So-
God, no.
Did he have?
He really didn't even like kids being here. If the kids come, I know like this last weekend, he basically, I mean, Olivia is 7 months old. And he basically come in, hold her for a few minutes, and he'll go sit out in the pasture, or he'll go to the barn, or he'll just stay away.
Go do his own thing.
He'll go do his own thing.
Did he have any guns and firearms?
We have a Benelli something or the other. This is the only gun that I know that he has. Scott has several guns.
Does Scott keep his guns over there, or?
Scott keeps his guns over there. No, the shotgun is over here. I guess the Benelli is a shotgun.
Yeah.
It's in a case. And I think that it's in Gary's closet. And then Scott had I think a 22 over here, but Gary had put it in his closet. And as far as I know, it's still in there.
Does Gary drink at all? Any alcohol?
Bushmills.
Sorry?
Bushmills.
Bushmills? What is that?
It's a whiskey, bourbon, something like that. But he doesn't drink often because his dad was an alcoholic. But when he drinks, he drinks. I think he drank more than what Avenue. But like I said, Mountain Dew was his vice. And I always said his brothers and, well, his two sisters, especially his older sister, has been in and out of rehab for different drugs and stuff. And I said, hey, you know, if they're going to have an addictive personality, at least his is Mountain Dew and cigarettes. It doesn't seem to be, you know, everything else. And he was a workaholic. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was a workaholic. And nothing was ever good enough. I mean, he didn't, as far as I know, I mean, he had a secretary and a legal assistant. Couldn't keep a legal assistant, didn't seem like. And because everything was very not good enough. Nothing was ever perfect, so.
Right. Can you think of anything else that would be important for us to know? I think clearly, like Sergeant Hans told you, we're going to be here for a little while doing,
Yeah,
you know,
my
going
next door
through.
neighbor died a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and Detective Cockendall was the one that came out and investigated that one. So this one's a little different given the circumstances. So you know, like Sergeant Hans said, we can't give you a time frame. We'll be here. You know, if we think of questions along the way, we'll.
Well, I mean,
we'll
I
ask.
know yesterday morning when Scott came to get the debit card, he was going to play golf. And like I said something to him about the burn pile still. Because we talked about the burn pile still going. You know, I've got to smell that thing all, you know, just constantly burning. Of course, 2 of the units are down here on this end and 2 are in the back part, so it sucks it in, you know, down here. Great. You know, of course, like I said, after we had that fire here at the house, I wouldn't wish that on, you know, anybody. And I was terrified of fire after that. And it was like, the more that I said about please don't burn, the more he did it. Here, please don't smoke in my house. I mean, he used that, a lot of times he would use that shower for an ashtray. And here, of course, now we've got him one by his chair, you know, right here. And I said, Gary, I can't live through another fire. And I told him, I said, I mean, you said one in my other house too. I said, you can't keep this up. But his dad, we said the same thing about his dad. I mean, you couldn't get the Christmas presents opened up before he would gather up everything and take, you know, go burn it.
Really?
I'm like, well, what is your all's thing with fire?
mean, I finally took my, and put gas logs in my fireplace upstairs because he would load that sucker up with, you know. I'm like, no, you'll catch the chimney on fire. So we finally, this last year, I was not going to put gas in that one because I've got one in the bedroom too that's gas. And, those guys that were putting gas in, get a gas stove. I can't.
You afraid he's gonna overpack it and burn it down?
Burn it down. Yeah. I mean, I told him, Gary, fire department. I mean, we had fire trucks everywhere. You know.
Mhm.
So Gary's been knocking holes in my walls and the house.
Yeah. Fires
And
are-
I did. I mean, I told the fire department when they were here, I said, I mean, he wasn't here, and they said, well, where is he? I said, I don't know, we won't answer his phone. And, so when they got here, they just kind of walked away. I mean, it was just kind of like, let her at him. I mean, you know, and I didn't say a word to him. I mean, my house was on fire. And he came in and started cleaning up his office. I'm like, Gary, I mean, come on now. We got bigger problems than you getting water out of your office.
Mhm.
You know. And of course, it was on a holiday. I think it was a holiday weekend. Maybe it was on whatever's the end of August. And you know, she fell on a holiday, and it took a day or two to get everybody out here to start working on the basement. And they did. They sent a team in and cleaned and did, and like, it was still all.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
He had severe sleep apnea, and he has CPAP machine, and his vacuum. See how the bed looks after he slept in it. I mean, it's just torn. You know, with all the doctors he saw this last time he was in the hospital, it was a neurologist and a cardiologist and every doctor. And I mean, I shot straight with him. You know, I smoke about a pack a day. You know, and I drink Mountain Dew a day. Like,
Wow.
I think I gave somebody all the medications that he's on.
Yeah. They said they were up there.
I mean, they recently put him on a new blood pressure medicine, but it was also congestive heart failure medicine. It was I Googled it. It was a pretty strong one. He wouldn't take it all. He never took any of his medications regularly. He would, my blood pressure got really high, so I'll take a handful of them versus, you know, I'm like, here's the thought, why don't you take them regularly? Opposed to, you know. But then the more that anybody would say to him, and I told, well, Emily, the one that lives in Thompson Station, I don't know what year that was. It was we had moved into this house. And she came to me and she said, some of the partners have gone to Daddy and talked to him and he's got to get some help. And she said, but please don't tell him that I told you. So I don't know why that he confided, but he confides in her more. You know. And she had begged him to go and seek medical. Because my dad died of a heart attack. My mother's been in the nursing home for years now with a bad heart. I've got a cousin that I don't have any brothers and sisters. And, I said, Gary, I believed in the cardiologist office for years. And I know how bad it is. And I said, you know that there's that issue in your family? His mother supposedly is vascular dementia, and it's due from, you know, his grandfather. It's all vascular problem. They did tell him that the two arteries in the back of the neck were stopped up. That supplied, I guess, more blood to the brain, and told him to, you know, go to the cardiologist. You know, let's get this thing back.
Some people are just stubborn.
I think that he, you know, it was, you know, I'm gonna push it as long as I can, and I said, Gary, you've got to quit smoking. I know, but I enjoy smoking. Okay. And especially after Olivia was born, because he's always thought, Emily was kind of his favorite. And whatever Emily wanted, Emily got. Hence back, she's living in a $400,000 house in Thompson Station. He bought her a condo in Tuscaloosa. And that's fine, it made sense, to buy a condo. But I told him, I said, okay, we've got Olivia now. And you've got to stay here 7 months, so you're grown. So I don't, like I said, it was always the glasses half empty, kind of thing. Do I think he would do something to himself? I mean, I don't. But there was so much about him. He didn't want me being at the hospital when he was there the last time. You need to go ahead and go. And I said, no, because I'm going to talk to these doctors. It's time to put the cards out on the table. It's time for us to all know. Well, the day that the cardiologist was supposed to come, they did a stress test and all that kind of stuff on him on Tuesday. And his nurse came in and said he did miserably on it. I said, great. And he said, we do not do open heart surgery here. As far as stent, I think they do stents and stuff. He said, so he will be transported out of here. And like I said, I never talked to the cardiologist. I talked to his physician's assistant. Because Amanda and she came and got me, and we went to Fox Hall on the other side of Douglasville to look at a wedding thing. And when we got back, over there, they were dismissing him. And so I never talked. But I do know, because in the paperwork, that he was supposed to have gone back to the neurologist and to the cardiologist on that Friday. And he got out on late Wednesday, and he refused to go back. So, I don't know.
Yeah. But he doesn't, no heart attacks that y'all know of yet.
No, he had all the EKGs that they did in the hospital came back abnormal. So that's all that I was told was abnormal. And of course, I tried to ask a lot of questions and stuff, and of course, their thing is privacy clause. And I know Dr. Kaufman, his doctor, I had been to him. I had to have eye surgery done a few years ago, and I had gone to him for a physical at that time. I said something. I said, "Well, we're going to do about Gary," and he said, "No." So I ain't been able to. He said, I said, "Well, we'll take it." I said, "He takes his blood pressure medicine with a Mountain Dew," and he said, "And tastes it with cigarettes." And he just kind of laughed, and he said, "What do you?" I said, "I don't know." But now my mother, 2007, I think, she had that open heart surgery, and I tried having her in my house for a while. And I actually took her to him to get on home health and all that kind of stuff. And Gary said, "Oh, I finally brought you somebody that's in worse shape than I am." No, Gary, she told me.
Wow.
I mean, I knew he was taking time off. I mean, there's a lot of it that I would think you need to go check on him, but the more you checked on him, the more belligerent, I guess, that he got. More, so I just go and just look, Of course, he slept with a CPAP machine, so it breathed for him, basically, and he slept with the door locked. So he's paranoid about everything.
You said this is a smart house, and you just told me his parent. Are there any video surveillance on the property?
No, not any of that has worked since the fire.
Okay. So we might see cameras around, but no, they've all been taken down.
Yeah, I mean, there's cameras still there, but the whole system is. It doesn't work.
So I mean, if one of my supervisors, there's a camera, I can tell them there was a fire.
There's fire.
How did you say 4 years ago was the fire? 2 years ago now. Okay.
Yeah, 2 years is August.
So fire 2 years ago, and that destroyed the system, and y'all never repaired it.
We got Elon, and we got them back out here, and they've worked on it, and they couldn't seem to get it working. I mean, there's an iPad up in the kitchen that you can control, everything with, and it hadn't been able to get it back working right. It got into all the wiring and everything.
So it's the whole house, not just the video surveillance. It's all the smart features.
It's all smart. Yeah, it used to. There was an electrical engineer who built this house.
Mhm.
She was my walk in rooms, lights would come on, and if nobody moved around and everything, lights would go off.
Wow.
He got into all of that, you know, and I said, I didn't know that it'd take having a fire here to get it to where, you know, because I couldn't keep a light on in the house. You know, you'd be sitting there at the kitchen table and all of a sudden everything just go dark.
Really? You have to move around to get it
move
coming.
around, and I mean, you get up because there's like little things in each room, like a little, you know, thing up in the corner. And it would be a sensor.
Mhm.
So you just get up and march around. And I said, you know, he worked from here, and you know, and it was fine for people like that, but it didn't work here. Not when you got dogs and 4 kids.
Right.
And so I didn't push it to get it fixed because, I mean, when we did before then, we had cameras up, and he would say, well, who came to the house today? Well, they were here working on such and such. You know, well, you know, Scott came to the house 4 times today. Okay. So what? You know.
Right. All right. I don't think I have anything else for now. Let's go up there and I guess see what's going on. I don't know what everybody else is doing and where we're needed or what is needed.
Oh. I mean, what happened?
You know, our job is just to determine if a crime is committed. So they'll be down there collecting evidence and doing everything. We have our crime scene investigators here. Typically, and you just let me know if any of this is too much for you, because I have to talk in, you know, my terms to try to make it clear, and some people don't handle it well. Typically, we respond to a death, we have a body, and we can look at the body, and we can say, this guy's got this medical history, there's no holes in him, there's no cuts. Most likely, it's medical related. And then if there's any further questions, we can send them down to the GBI crime lab, and they do their autopsy, and they can tell us for sure, yes, it was a heart attack, or yes, it was a stroke, or whatever. We don't have that in this situation. So there's a lot more forensics involved in it, and I don't know how much, you know, that's all their expertise, not mine. So the remains will definitely have to be sent off to be tested, because one thing we definitely have to do is positively identify and make sure that the remains we found are him. They'll do that through the DNA testing. So, you know, all that, I don't know how long all that takes, because they'll go down to Atlanta, to Panthersville, to the GBI crime lab headquarters down there, and that's where they do all that stuff. So, you know, we'll be out here for several hours just because, and you see there's our crime scene truck arriving on the scene, but we only get one shot to collect everything we need and, you know, do what we need to do. If we leave here and it pours down rain tonight, we can't really come back tomorrow if we miss something, so that's why it takes so long.
I think it rained here yesterday.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. It rained last night. I mean, it is what it is, but from this point forward, we've got to do what we've got to do.
Well, I mean, that burn pile was, well, have you been down there?
Yeah,
I mean, it was as big as
Yeah,
that.
saw it.
And, I mean,
and it's still smoking. It's still hot.
oh yeah, it's still hot.
Even after it rained. How much did it rain last night here, do you know?
I have no idea.
Because I know when I woke up this morning, my in Ballground, my car was wet in the driveway and all that. So I know it rained last night. I just didn't know how much.
I have no idea because the sprinkler system went off last night, so I just didn't. I don't know. And like I said, I had 2 little girls here this morning, so. I mean, I know that seems odd. You're just someplace here.
You know, I've been doing this job a while, and it's not as uncommon as you probably think it is. You see it. I wouldn't say all the time, but I've ran across it multiple times where, you know, it may not be to the extreme. You know, sometimes it is different levels, different bedrooms. I know people personally that sleep in different bedrooms, so you know.
I mean, like I said, I begged him and begged him, please don't stop that. It was almost like he had a thing for
So something just popped in my head. You were very concerned about him watching the fire and then didn't see him for a few days. Did you go check on the fire yourself, or?
Oh yeah, we've all been down there. Yeah, we have. And then when Amanda and I went back today, it was just smoldering. And I asked Scott, I said, did you throw like one of the goats on there or something? You know, maybe one died, you know, because we have several of them. Did you throw a goat on there or something? Because it was just something that just looked, it was like one big ball of just, you know. And I said, throw a goat on there or something? And he went over there and looked and, did. He said, no, but that doesn't mean Daddy, didn't. Well, then he really looked. And I will say, he actually took a stick and tough. We were saying that.
Mm-hmm.
He said it once. And I said, tell me there's like a goat or a coat or anything. I mean, and he took off. He said, I'm calling 911. So that was it.
But even the day before, y'all had been down there checking on the fire, and just
Well, I would just walk out here like I said, I wasn't here. It was late Tuesday before he said it.
and then you weren't here all day Wednesday.
And then I wasn't here most of the day yesterday.
But you could just walk in on the deck and look.
I can walk out, yeah. 'Cause
Make sure the woods weren't on fire. Just
make sure the woods weren't on fire. It was basically all that I did. Now this morning, we walked all over that, everywhere. We just glanced at it. Yep, it's burn pile still burning, and it's still burning. And this door right here goes to the master bedroom. It's right here, so I can walk out that door. Just walk out. Like the deck goes all the way around.
Okay.
And I just walk out and glance over there and go, oh, thank goodness the woods are not on fire. And I said, we can't burn raised woods down, because actually, from that fence right there, is another man's property. And it actually comes up to the back of the house, and he lives down on Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can't set raised woods on fire. But you can tell there's a big tree that's down there by the burn pile. The last time he burned it, he got the tree on fire.
So, when y'all went down to the burn pile, you noticed the remains, and
I just thought it was, and
You
that's
thought it might
when
have been
that's when I said, Scott, did you throw a goat on here? And I said, or did we have one to die? Because it was not unusual. If we've got a bunch of babies, and it wouldn't be unusual for, like I said, Tuesday night, Gary was gathering up everything that was not nailed down, and there was a box that he had gotten a little jumper thing for Olivia, and he was going, I said, no, do not burn. Well, I noticed yesterday that the box was gone. So, and then when we came in yesterday, the goats were out, the pigs were out, everything was out. So I called Scott and said, if you've been here, we'll let everything out. Because thinking he could maybe come in for a minute and then, left. And he said, no. I said, great. Yeah, just let them out. I wonder how long, because they'll get up here and eat everything. So I know at some point in time he left them out yesterday. I'm assuming that doesn't mean that he did. They could have gotten out. I don't know. I don't know. I should have gone down and checked on him yesterday, but like I said, when I was blowing off everything, the fan was going in that bathroom, and I just thought, well, he's up now.
All right. My sergeant has sent me a message saying that I am needed, that we can take a break for a little while. So let's go up here and we'll see if we can get you some water and see what's going on, okay? You have any questions?
I'm going to
It's understandable. None of us want anything more than to him come walking over that hill. And then we have to figure out who that is down there, but at least it wouldn't be.
Well, so I keep saying his phone immediately goes to
Was he, did he always have his phone on him, or did he leave it places? Or?
He would leave it. No, he didn't carry it with him all the time.
So it's possible phones in the basement that just died. The battery has run out. Because they only last a couple of days. Okay. We know when we.
I know Scott and I went up to Cherokee Ranch to eat. Tuesday. And he was sitting, I don't know if you've ever been in up there. He was sitting in the first booth. He didn't go in. He was just sitting there and we got now we didn't. But he was sitting in a booth that didn't have like table on either side. There's a wall. I mean, there's a table and a booth sign. And he got up and went, hey, he walked by Scott and I and never opened his mouth. Got it? Good. You know? But that wasn't unusually. I mean, Scott and I have been up there to eat. I mean, we go up there to eat. We have to leave. If I can go up there with him, like he and I would ask Maxine, who works up there, does he ever talk to anybody when he goes in here, or does he, just like, no? He'll have his phone or his iPad. Or anybody, I mean, like, if it's like, well, I mean, Scott's usually in there, and, he'll sit in there and keep count with his iPad.
All right. Well, let me walk you back up here, and then I'll see if I can get some more information and see what's going on. Okay. What kind of cigarettes did he smoke? Do you know the brand?
Marvel.
And nobody else here smokes? Scott does he smoke the same kind? Or don't know.
I'd have to do that.
Oh, okay.
He was here, started firing the back when he started smoking that day. Do I know he smokes? Yes.
Gotcha.
He knows how I feel about it.
Right.
So,
Well, my sergeant's down here. I'm going to go walk and find him. It looks like, I don't know if that's...
I'm not grabbing water out of.
I'll let him know. Thank you.
And then there's 2 cases of water.
Okay. I'll be right back, okay?
You know where they all are?
I see there's somebody talking to that gentleman there. I believe it's your daughter.
All right, let's break for 10 minutes.